Hey Frank, man, he ended up being a pretty tricky opponent, man. What did you make overall of how the fight evolved to the decision?
He was tough. You know, I had to make some adjustments, and my timing was off a little bit. I made the adjustments. I don't know why, but my instincts was off just a little bit tonight. But we got the W, so that's all that matters.
I felt like you didn't let your hands go like you usually do early on.
Yeah.
What do you think that might have been?
Just really trying to figure out the shots he was going to throw the most, and what I basically like watching out for the big shot, just seeing what shots he was throwing like consistently. You know,
he kinda, looping shots.
Yeah.
And when you would dip down, he would loop in there too.
Yeah. So really trying to see what shots he was trying to shoot and openings he was trying to get throughout the whole night. So I was just really trying to adapt to his awkward style.
I think it was the 6th round. You had him really hurt about halfway through. I felt like maybe you could have. You think you could have maybe went a little harder to try to get him out of there then, or were you kind of
the thing
you were looking for?
The thing about it, when I hurt him, you know, I stayed on him for a while. I hurt him early, so I stayed on him for a while. You know, he was taking a lot of the shots he was covering up. I could have went to the body more instead of head hunting, but I wasn't gonna punch myself out. You know what I mean? And get caught with a shot or anything like that. So, you know, I pressed the issue as soon as I hurt him, but I wasn't just finna chase him around just throwing big shots and get caught with a shot, you know.
You actually hurt him to the body. Was that shot not there again during that 6? It looked like you had him hurt to the body.
Honestly, man, I just didn't target the body enough tonight. You know, I should have been on the body a lot more. You know, it was there, but like my instincts, my reaction time was off tonight.
Frank, any reaction? What's your reaction to Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney were talking a little bit on social media? Shakur Stevenson said levels, as if he's levels above. And what's your reaction to those guys having something to say?
It is what it is. You know what I mean? If they got something to say about it, hey, it is what it is. You know, so whenever those fights happen, we'll see what the reactions will be in those fights. You know, so don't. If they see flaw in this performance, you know what I mean? The guy was actually tougher than what a lot of people, gave him his props for, or people really was sleeping on the guy, He was an Olympian, so he had a lot of awkward style, and he had power. The guys they fighting ain't got no power, so I ain't even worried about what they talking about.
Did you think the fight was as close as the judges had it?
I don't feel like it was that close. I feel like when I wanted to turn up, I feel like I was sitting back a little too much, waiting a little too much. So that was just that.
Frank, talk about, we didn't hear it, obviously, we weren't watching the telecast, but I saw on Twitter and stuff, Derek was kind of really on you saying that, I believe at one point he said he thinks you were losing, that he thought you needed a knockout. Just talk about the conversation with Derek. And I feel like once I started seeing those comments on Twitter, I felt like you kind of put your foot on the gas a little bit as well.
Derek, he just, he big on, not leaving stuff in the judge's hands, so I respect it, and I trust what he was saying, so he said I was down, so, he was pressing the issue for me to pick it up, and I needed to get a stoppage, so I was looking for it. It didn't, that opening didn't present itself, but I did turn up, and press the issue in those later rounds when I needed to.
Sorry, was there something the later the fight went that, because it felt like the more aggressive you got, the more successful you were. Was there something that you saw that you were like, okay, I gotta take
it was just like when I was aggressive and moving forward, it was like I was doing what I wanted to do. So it was just like, why wait for him to throw out these shots? Yeah, you may be catching him, but he throwing punches. Like, don't just be catching him. Go forward and shoot your shots. Because when you going forward, like he bagging up, so just shoot your shots.
How close do you think you were to a stoppage in the 12th round? It seemed like you were kind of on him, thinking maybe you almost had it.
Yeah, I was on him. I was really just trying to land a big shot. I really wasn't like my mind wasn't all the way open, like to the point where I was like super like calculated on shot placement. I felt like I was just kind of like I got ahead of myself a little bit.
Congratulations on a big win. I told you before, this guy was legit. People don't know him, so they count him down. You're now the WBC #1 guy. If you fought Devin Haney in 2 weeks, what happens?
I beat him.
Decision or knockout?
Knockout.
What round?
Probably like the 8th round. This guy I fought, man. This guy was tough.
Yeah, he's big. He wasn't 135 tonight.
He wasn't. I thought that. A lot of times I'm normally the bigger guy. He was actually a big dude. He could take a shot too. So.
Hey, what would you grade your performance at tonight, Frank?
I give myself a B.
And yesterday I talked to you, and you said you wanted to not just win, but send a statement to the division.
For sure.
Did you think you sent that statement? And if so, what was that statement, sir?
I mean, I didn't have the performance that I wanted to have. You know, I got the W. You know, that's all that mattered. I'm keeping my head up. At the end of the day, you know, it wasn't my best performance in my eyes. You know, I got so much in my arsenal, but tonight I was just off a little tad bit.
Hey, Frank. Errol Spence is 2 weeks before his big fight. He took time. He didn't have to come tonight. He's in camp. He's cutting weight. How does it make you feel to have Errol Spence, one of the best, not the best pound for pound?
It make me go harder. You know, like while I was in there fighting, you know, he was talking to me. You know, he was telling me like, you gotta pick it up. You gotta shoot this shot. Shoot that shot. You know what I mean? So it's dope having that. It's like an extra boost. You know, it's like. Because I know like what he's telling me is the right thing, you know, so it's dope to have that.
We're not entirely sure if Devin Haney plans to stay at 135 right now, given that he wants to entertain 140. If you can't get that fight at some point in the near future, who's on your hit list?
I want all the top guys at 135. All the top guys everybody knows. You know, I don't want to keep name dropping all these guys, but all the top, you know, the top guys, you know, I want them.
Hey Frank, not comparing your fight with the Arrows with Kell Brook, but there was a moment where it was a tough fight, but he took a knee, and then everyone's seeing his eye, you know, and people were screaming out "eye collector" in the crowd. Did you feel like, you know, something about that training camp is collecting eyes? Is that what?
I don't know. I think we just hit hard. You know what I mean? And I think it's a difference. You know, like you got some fighters who just load up. You know, they land big shots. But I feel like it's a little more calculated on the punch placement on our end. You know, like those big shots come while we doing certain things we're supposed to be doing. And there was some things I didn't do that I was supposed to be doing, you know, to get the stoppage tonight.
You told me that's a
Hey, Frank, congratulations. Off to the next.
Appreciate you.
You mentioned you graded yourself a B.
All right, yeah, we're good.
I was off, you know. Instincts was off a little bit, you know, with some things I seen. My body just wasn't reacting how I needed to react.
All right, Frank, here we go.